Hello, my little buttons of joy, and welcome to the news and views with the frankly exhausted EV Café. 30 minutes of what's happening in sustainable transport with expert analysis from the EV Café crew, brought to you this week in partnership with the AA. Always ahead. And today's opinions on a stick are, from top to bottom, and a lovely top it is, Paul. And in the middle we have Sam, and at the bottom we have Sarah. Somewhere unusual. Sarah, where are you, flower?
I'm literally in a broom cupboard. It's either very bright or very, very dark. So I'm going for very dark.
Love that. Thank you for joining us from the broom cupboard. I think that was a children's television thing, was it?
I know. I've got a puppet.
You're not Philip Schofield now, are you? Anyway, let's move on. Grab a cuppa and plug into what's happening in clean transport this week. Coming up, Places for London starts the search for EV charging hub partner. Rishi Sunak announces 29.5 billion of investments. Yeah, I know. UK government releases battery strategy. Yay! Curbside charging channel is trialled by West Berkshire Council. And the first, and this is for Sam, last story, big froth. The first transatlantic flight using sustainable aviation fuels takes off. Looking forward to that. Stay tuned to the end, cause you is gonna love it. But first, some quick reflections on the 3 days of the London EV show that we've just all been through. How was it for you? If you in the comments were there, do tell us what you thought. Be honest, be open. We've got the opportunity to give some feedback, so let's use it to get the very, very best show. But let's start at the top. Paul, what did you think of the London EV show this year?
Well, the phrase "blood, sweat, and tears" comes to mind for me, mainly because I felt rotten physically. And listen, you know, we have an opportunity to learn in many circumstances. So we, as the EV Cafe, there was a few learnings that we took away, I think, from the event. It was a really great event of connection, I thought. Just like lots of people. Very industry people, I felt a little bit, you know, I felt there was a lot of good friends, and that we love. There's a lot of energy from that, and I took a lot of energy because I needed it, because I didn't feel very well. But as I went around the show, and I did see some, you know, went to have a look at some of the commercial vehicles on the other side of the show, and there was a few little pockets of vehicles from my point of view. And it's the electric vehicle show. I would have liked to have seen a few more. I'd like to have seen a few of the legacy manufacturers kind of stepping up, and I think that's on them to wade in and put a display out. But, you know, lots of good content. I'm not sure enough people got to hear it. And a lot of great things going on, a lot of good people. And it was a real celebration of our industry, but I just don't know that it got the cut through that I would have wished for. But I really enjoyed it, mostly, because apart from the bleeding bit.
Well, that was your cut through. Thank you for that. Sarah.
I think I'm going to drill down on a lot of people who attended said, is it B2B? Is it B2C? What even is this show? Like, people were coming to the door trying to get in and being told, no, it's 500-600 quid to come through these doors. So, of course, it wasn't going to hit home or hit as wide as I'd hoped. But as a B2B event, the only thing that it felt bad was that unless you were exhibiting or had already paid for your 600 quid pass, you couldn't come and see or take part in any of the seminars or dissemination sessions. So what was that even for? Like, if that was as closed as it was supposed to be, then it should be much smaller, much more sort of Chatham House rules, getting to the nub of the issue rather than sort of in the echo chamber as I felt we were on all 3 days. So it was very enjoyable from that perspective. But the exhibition was great. So much hardware, so much software, very few EVs.
And Sidewinder Missile Sam, what did you think of the London EV show?
I've been called many things, so that's a new one. No, I think I'd echo both Paul and Sass on this one. I'm trying to understand what it wants to be. I think it needs to work that out. You know, is it a trade show, trade fair, B2B, B2C? So I think there's a little bit of that needs to be thought out now. But that's sort of a good thing in a way, because taking positives out of it, you know, they're getting some traction 3 years in. I know how hard the first year was for them, especially with COVID looming or post-COVID. So there's work to do, but you know, it was well presented and well established. I just feel guilty really, because I go to these events and I don't see anything. You know, between being on moderating panelists and day job, I didn't actually walk around once, and in 3 days, and I just feel a bit bad about that, and that's my failing really. But and bumping into people makes it quite difficult. But I need to find a different way of strategizing going to events to try and be a bit more efficient and understand it better. But overall, I think what the guys have said is exactly right, and they've got a good foundation to build on. So I think feedback will be very important this year because it'll hopefully shape the decisions for next.
A lot
I
of
think the
people
exhibitors had a great time. Lots of and a few of the exhibitors were new to market. They were literally taking a new product to market, and they had an excellent time. Order book swelling as a result of the London EV show. Real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people very grumpy in the chat today about Sam not making the effort. Let's say hello to a few people. That's a lie. Amy Phillips. Amy Phillips from Mobilised. Hello, sweetie. Varun Gandhi. Varun, lovely to see you and get more hugs than I was due, I think. David Watts, hello. Mark Elliott, Daryl Sharp, Michael Barton. Michael, bless you. You gave me a gift whilst you were there, and I was really touched. Lovely to see you. Laura Hustwick-Wilkes from Power, the Power Rangers. Dan Sewell. Oh, now, hang on a minute. Sustainable Road Transport Show. He's a good geezer, We like him. Gemma Lovett from Barbados. She's still here. Now, how warm is it in Barbados today? Let's find out. Ashley Bannister.
Positively tropical.
And Ashley, I'm glad you called out Ashley, John, because he said he can't see his comments posting, but they are there, and I'm singling him out because he's great at posting. So just so you know, we can see and hear you.
We certainly can. Dev Chakravarti. Jim Blair. Now, Jim, how cold is it in Scotland today? Because all these southern softies, they're going, it's -1. Oh, isn't it bad? Tell us,
-4.
my friend.
Quite bad.
-4. Okay, let's find out how cold it is. The person who has the lowest temperature, officially verified, gets a mug. Pam Hanlon. Hello, Pam from Power.
It's going to be Chris Ramsey, isn't it?
He's just entering the Antarctica for anybody who's interested. Esther Jones. Alan Castle. Hello, Alan. How are you? Ashley Etchells, Rachel Lewis, Daryl Sharp, David Cornish, Alex Bull. Well, it's a load of bull there. Hey, Bull. What a wonderful name. Andrew Walker, we saw you, Andrew. Loved what you were saying. We need to pick up on some of the things that you were telling me about 25,000 to retrofit battery packs into old diesel vans. Very, very interesting. Jordan Ware from Formula Space. Siva Kumar, hello. Tony Clayton, Mark Elliott, Ron Godfrey. Saw Ron 3 days. What a trooper that man is.
Absolutely great guy.
What a love. Simon Acton, Tim Morris from Europcar. Hello, geezer. I hope you're feeling better. David Watts, Pam Hanlon. Yeah, we've mentioned you. Get off. Caroline Kirby. The missus is watching, Paul. Rory Harrison. Martin Sweeney from MHA. Mark Sherry Brennan. Carl Cook gave me a gift. It was cork, which was very nice. It was Carl Cook cork. Lovely. David Bushnell. Mark Fellingham. Good gracious, there are some people. Gary Comerford, the legend. Did you know that Gary Comerford is in the Napoleon film that is showing in the cinema right now?
Very cool.
Wow.
Also, John,
he
why
also
did
did
you
a
get so many
podcast
presents?
with me on Monday.
Why did I get so many presents? Because I'm impatient and Christmas couldn't come soon enough. -2, Jim says. T-shirt and shorts, dirty boy. Alex Hansford, Rory Harrison. Bless you all for showing up. It's 8 minutes past 10. Shall we do some news?
Okay.
Yeah, probably should.
Places for London. Transport for London's, or TfL's, property company has started searching for a single joint venture partner to help it bring forward a number of new electric vehicle ultra-rapid charging hubs across its estate. The JV partnership, which will help support the Mayor of London's commitment to achieve net zero carbon by 2030, aims to deliver new off-street charging hubs that will be able to simultaneously charge multiple vehicles. Not a new concept. The sites will also help support placemaking in local areas by including retail and welfare facilities on some of the larger sites where possible. It's an interesting proposition because it can be then rolled out to other local authorities, giving a simple solution for those that aren't quite as advanced as London. Sam, I mean, this is a model as old as the hills, really. Well, certainly as old as GridServe. It's not new, but it is important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is important. And the guys from Transport for London, particularly Simon Cordery, came and spoke to me this week actually about this because I think they only announced it at the beginning of the week. So
indeed,
it's a big deal. And if you read as I did late last night, read the brief, the estimated total value of this is 3 billion, which I thought, hang on, how much? But the way the TfL approach these things is they aggregate capex, opex, and gross revenues, and then put it all together.
Wow.
But ultimately, that's the size of the prize for somebody here. So it's a really long term, probably in terms of that sort of value. But at the same time, it's a huge opportunity for London to step up and have hubs, hopefully in the right places. I know they've got hundreds of sites, if not more, of potential avenues for charging, but we've got to get the right chargers in the right place at the right time. Still, the thing we go about again and again and again. So we've got to make sure that whatever gets installed goes to the right places, which probably isn't in the middle, would be my suggestion. I think it needs to be on the peripheral of all cities, not in the middle, where people come in and out frequently.
Yeah, so you're looking at trunk road network as an ideal place rather than slap bang in the centre.
Having said that, my only caveat to my own comment is that there's a lot of underutilized car parks, to which TfL have many, and that is definitely, if there's vehicles in the local area, low powered solution for long dwell times is totally viable as well. So just to do the yin and the yang of DC and AC and DC there.
And absolutely, and Sarah, it's really important that we make sure we get these charging hubs right. The payment experience, the process of actually charging an electric vehicle has to be bang on for this to be a success.
It does. It needs to be easy to locate, trust that your vehicle's going to be safe whilst it's there, and have an accountable way to use that energy and then claim it back if it's business. But what I was thinking about was in the west of England, we looked at this very closely for things like specific fleet hubs on the peripheral as well, not necessarily where they can't go back to base. So it's almost exclusive use for fleet, which is still underway, but a huge government grant went to that, I believe. But nothing's ever a cookie cutter approach. Right kit in the right place has been a motto of mine since 2018. And I don't just mean the equipment that you install at the time. I mean the ducting underground. I mean the measure twice, cut once approach. I mean not having to dig it all up again in 5 years' time and have a pile of charges in a skip because you got wooed and subdued by somebody who made you think that they could deliver everything on a stick.
Sounds like Sam.
I knew that was coming. I was just
It was too easy, isn't it? I'll just add on it's Sam on the end.
read your mind. I was just waiting for the words to come out of your mouth before. Anyway, carry on.
I've become predictable. Paul,
Well,
obviously, there's a commercial vehicle aspect here in that we need to get the sizing right for the operations that are local.
Absolutely. And to Sam's point, if you go into the central London, the interesting part about the sort of the congestion zone, let's call it that, because that's what it's called, it is the only zero emission zone of any substance in the country, in the sense that you can only go in free if you are zero emission. And what's interesting is around Europe, there are zero emission zones now planned. I was talking to somebody from the Netherlands, like zero emission zones, you cannot go in them unless you are zero emission if you buy a vehicle after 2025. Long story, but anyway. But there are, and we can see the future looking like this could be zero emission. So hubs could go in the centre, and particularly in that sense, if you walk around the centre of London these days, all you see is vans. Vans are everywhere because they have to be there to do a job of work, whatever that might be, and they will need charging because they will have their dwell times in that city area. So I agree with Sam in the sense that, we could do with some peripheral hubs around, but it'll be a good model to work through, and the value of it's incredible. Let's hope that long-term effect will give people the confidence to drive into the city in zero-emission vehicles from the outer circuits and the outer the suburbs and whatnot, and be able to charge when they're in confidently. But commercial vehicles must be considered from height, space, in and out access, all of those kinds of things. Very important.
They do have an amazing team on this job as well. You mentioned Simon Caudry there. You've got Alex Gilbert too. What's really heartening about this particular moment in time, this historic thing that's happening right now, is that those people have been working on this stuff for 10, 15 years. All the people I know on that team have been doing this for a decade. So if anybody's going to get it right, it's that team. And with that much money, hopefully the right partners too.
Exciting times ahead for London and local authorities across the country. Speaking of the country, the Grime Minister, Rishi Sunak, has released 29.5 billion of investment, including the renewable energy sector, at a global investment summit in London. Various deals were announced, including renewable energy firm Iberdrola delivering 7 billion of investment as part of a total 12 billion programme for between 24 and 28, with North Star, owned by Partners Group in Switzerland, also committing 500 million and 400 new jobs to offshore wind infrastructure. Gren, which recently acquired a network of waste and biomass assets, plans to divest up to 1 billion in district heating and local energy systems to deliver affordable green energy to more than 200,000 homes. I've got two questions. How much of this money has previously been announced and is just a rehashing of old money? And, COP28 started yesterday, the same day as the announcement. Am I cynical? Sarah?
Well, I'm kind of glad you are, because I didn't know. Once again, John, hand it to you. I wasn't aware of this until today, so thank you for sharing. I have had my head in the EV bubble, but I'm becoming increasingly cynical. There's so many times where budgets that have already been set are kind of rehashed and then sort of presented back as if it's new news. So I don't know. I don't know the truth. How are you ever going to know the truth with the government?
Ooh, very cynical this morning.
No, I really, really mean that.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else that you want to waste your breath on about government?
Well, I just think, Sunak announces 29.5 million investment like it's his own. It's not. It's not government money. It's a lot of investment into green and renewables, which actually has been, we've been battling against onshore, wind restrictions and other restrictions around renewable. I mean, the last iteration of him was gobbing off about no more solar and all this kind of stuff. These mad people just need to do one, get out of the way and let somebody get on with it that knows what they're doing. Because all he's doing is announcing investment that people have wanted to put in for a long time. And then finally somebody wakes up and goes, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Batteries.
Well,
we had an opportunity a little while ago to get a battery investment thing going, and we just let it go. And now suddenly we've got 29.5 billion. Wake up, people. This is not government money, it's private money.
Martin Sweeney says complete hogwash, and he's a real expert in this. Sam, go on.
I echo your point, which Paul just repeated, but I think that it's just numbers again, isn't it? I mean, oil companies have been doing this for years. We're striving to achieve. We're looking to invest. It's all. We're going to do this. Like, tell me stuff you've done. Let's have some actual results of investment that was claimed to be done 5 years ago. Has it manifested itself in material success now? Then, if it has, then great. Otherwise, it's just more numbers on a page. And as you quite rightly said, John, it's just a timing thing. Send a nice announcement about somebody else's money as you're flying off to a rich oil country to talk about maybe doing something for another year in the environmental space. And I hope COP28 doesn't become as flaky as the last one, but we'll see, I suppose.
Ron Godfrey likes Grime Minister. Let's keep that one in, people. The UK battery strategy has been set up, boring, by the government as part of its vision for the UK to achieve a globally competitive battery supply chain by 2030, which was broadly welcomed by the sector. The document outlines the government's plan in detail, including its plan for what it calls design, build and sustain. This approach will see support to design and develop batteries for the future which are smaller, lighter and better capacity and value. The strategy will also see closer working with domestic industry and international partners on a resilient UK battery manufacturing supply chain. In addition, it aims to enable the development of a thriving and sustainable battery sector supported by proportionate regulations that drive investment across the supply chain, from raw materials through to end of life and recycling. Now, raw materials is a bit of a challenge. I think we recognise that. We have a lithium mine in Cornwall. But apart from that, we're going to be importing tons and tons and tons to deliver on this objective as far as I can see. Is this good news or just pie in the sky? Pablo?
Listen, this is not my area of expertise. I would wish we could sort of wheel in Roger Atkins at this point, because he does seem to be very close to that world of batteries and really knowledgeable. Or, of course, the wonderful Ben. Forgot his surname suddenly. Ben
Kilby.
Kilby, bold voodoo now, because I think we had a massive opportunity to have been like a good year or so down the road on this challenge, as I was sort of referring to earlier, and I'm a bit frustrated by all these announcements that really I don't know. I want it all moving forward, and you get a bit cross that they've kind of realised that they've got it wrong and now they're trying to do it right. But anyway, there we go.
Shall we move on to people who are actually doing
Sarah,
some stuff?
I think wanted to say something.
No, I've got a good
Sorry.
one. I got a good one for you.
Go.
Say, I've been watching this industry develop, and I think it has been actually the opposite of that. There's been quite a lot of secret, good, positive things happening in the background for the last 10, 15 years, and now it's starting to become public discussion point. So even on the panel at the London EV show, there was somebody there who had worked for 30 years in waste, and their new protocol was all about lithium recycling, and how a question from the audience was about second life EVs being used in battery storage to ensure that people can make use of that cheaper, greener electricity off peak and store it and then use it when really needed. So not just is the practice becoming well appreciated, but the end of life and the second life and the reuse is becoming well documented as well. So I don't think it is a surprise. I think lots of stuff has been done, but I agree it should be showcased, it should be case studied, it should be shared more widely. So confidence is right there from the start. But people building infrastructure from scratch, guarantee you they're factoring in battery storage on site.
Oh, Sarah, you're always our little Tinkerbell. You have your magic wand of
I know,
fairy
I've got my little
dust.
Snow White jacket on today. It's cold in here.
Right, let's move on. West Berkshire Council are trialling a through pavement channel developed by Turbocharge, and we've mentioned this story before, but we're going to repeat it, which will allow residents without a driveway to charge their electric vehicle right from their home. Residents insert their charging cable into a channel in the pavement that has a self-closing lid that closes behind like a zip. This allows residents to safely charge an electric vehicle on the road, as it removes the risk of trips and falls from trailing charging cables from a property across the footway. The channel, manufactured in the UK by Turbocharge, also contours with the pavement during installation, so it sits perfectly flush with the pavement surface. Now, Paul, we were hearing in your van session at the London EV show that one of the major challenges is for those guys who are taking vehicles home, people who are taking vehicles home at night and needing to charge where they don't have off-street parking. Is this a reasonable solution?
It's a solution, and I mean I can see there are going to be challenges with it in terms of creating the gully and all of those kinds of things. But I think what we've got here is a solution that needs a problem that needs multiple solutions. And we are going to have things like the charging provided by L-Charge and Charge Ferry, at the roadside. We're going to have Phil Clark's Joule, the company is Joule, the battery in a van that downloads the energy into the traction battery of the van. We're going to have overhead kind of cables, and we're going to have gully cables. I see it as a collective solution to a variety of problems. We're going to have hubs locally, community charging. We're going to have all of these different types of things. I mean, even co-charger, right? Charging next door. All of these things will be needed to solve the problem. I wish there was a silver bullet. There doesn't seem to be one yet. I do wish for it, but I don't think it's a silver bullet, but I think it's part of the silver that makes up that silver bullet.
There was an interesting analogy used, I think, on your session where somebody said there is no single silver bullet in this area. There is, however, silver buckshot. And we do need lots of small little initiatives to find the way to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Sarah, would you use a channel in the pavement in your new property when you get it?
Yes, I would. Very much so, because it has a shared access pathway if I get the one I want. But I was going to say the confidence piece for me is that West Berkshire Council are doing this as a trial. That it's usually the councils that have a little bit of a concern over these because of the asset ownership, basically. So who even owns the pavement, who owns the wiring, who owns the guttering? What if someone comes and needs access to it and digs up the thing that you've installed? This is why things like the Nodum arm that swings out, that's another solution. I like this buckshot. That's a great shout. So I really want to watch this trial. I'm connected. Curb did great things with Swindon Borough Council as well, where seemingly unobvious, not possible on-street solutions were deployed and are still being used 4 years later. So I'm very, very well done, West Berkshire and Team Turbocharge.
Sam, could you just save your energy? Because
don't I get to comment?
Well, no, because I think you need to
We
save
also know what
energy.
you're going to say as well.
Sam's going to say how good lampposts are.
Yeah.
Part of this solution.
Well, it's sort of in the same camp, isn't it? I mean, I'm
Come on,
going.
then.
Well, I'm not going to poo-poo it. You know, I like Paul said, yeah, silver buckshot. That's great, I suppose. Or did John say that? I forget. Or
No,
both of
John
you.
said it.
Yeah, you're right, Paul. You're right. There's a multitude of things that are required, but
Everything
niche,
I just
isn't it?
said doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. It does matter. It just feels very niche because it's not. I'm lucky enough to have a driveway now, but I spent 15 years in London and on a terraced street, never parked outside my house for more than once every 3 weeks. So the chances of that ever being useful to me would be, you know, once every 3 weeks. So I guess it depends on the amount of people that don't have off-street parking, but can park on the road outside their house all the time. That's the only bit that works, because if you're 2 cars down, it doesn't work, does it? So I'm curious about the proportion of people that fit that demographic. I don't have off-street parking, but I can park outside my house because they're the only ones it applies to.
Now then, viewers, Sam mentioned his drive. It's 1.5 miles long, covered in gravel.
2 lions at the front.
And the driver has to deal with it. Anyway, let's move on. We're running out of time here. We've got a great story to really wind him up now. Virgin Atlantic's historic flight on 100% sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF, took off from London Heathrow to New York JFK on Tuesday this week, demonstrating the capability of SAF as a replacement for fossil-derived jet fuel, compatible with today's engines, airframes and fuel infrastructure. The Boeing 787 took off from London's Heathrow Airport to New York using 50 tonnes of SAF, with 88% deriving from waste fat, that sounds like me, and the rest from corn production waste in the US. Companies including Rolls-Royce and BP have been involved in the project. It will reduce CO2 life cycle emissions by up to 70%. Go, Sam.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, it's the beginning. It is. It's great. I mean, it's the beginning. I mean, look where we've come, right? I mean, in the last few years, talking about the infrastructure for cars, we're now talking about the HGVs on the roads this year and next year, and now we're talking about what the aviation sector is actually doing. And again, I applaud that they've done something. So it's telling us a story about something that's been done. It's not the end. You know, we've got a long way to go in terms of aviation fuel being fully renewable and being able to fly around the world without emitting emissions. I mean, it's going to be a 100-year challenge probably, but it's the beginning. You know, it's the beginning of doing something. So, you know, well done.
I've misjudged this story badly.
Yeah.
But I think Sam has made a great point, because I mean, and I suspect that it might have something to do with the fact that you've been embracing trucks recently, and the opportunity within trucks to reduce emissions immediately while working towards an electric solution in HVO, so hydro-treated vegetable oil, or whatever it's called, but it reduces emissions immediately while looking for the best solution. The best solution, we believe, is at least electric, and for a significant part, maybe there are alternatives around the fringes, but you know, for aviation, it may not be electric, it may be something else, but it is great that we are looking to reduce emissions, which is the core goal of what we're trying to do, right? Get the emissions out of the air.
Absolutely. Now then, there are a few questions, Sarah. I wonder if you've just got a very quick comment. Ashley Bannister, what are the team's thoughts on HMRC reducing the AER by 1p back down to 9 pence per mile at a time when CPOs are, I'm not sure they're increasing public charging costs, but certainly they're still artificially high, and Ofgem have just increased the home energy cost cap. Thoughts?
Oh, absolute facepalm. Just another backward step, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was really cross when I noticed that, because I'm just going through the process of claiming my mileage
That's ridiculous.
for company cars, and I just thought, what? How you can't bring it down? And I think the point is fair, that the some of the CPO costs are going up, but they are already expensive if you're relying on them. If you've got home charging, it's not so bad, but if you're relying on public charging, it's challenging.
And Sam, just to finish off, Ron Godfrey asks, any news on Gatwick Airport? Have we got a grid serve there yet? He won't tell anyone if it's a secret.
Yeah. Well, firstly, John, just want to point out one thing on the previous comment. Artificially high, it is not. High it is, but not artificial, because it's a cost that the CPOs are having to bear in order to put this infrastructure in. So just wanted to, I'm not going to say any more on the subject, but it is not artificially high.
Okay. We'll have a webinar about that because I have a view. But anyway, let's move on.
But I have a view too.
With the implication that we're profiteering, I can tell you not. I can tell you we're not. As far as Gatwick's concerned, it's so very close. We've got a few grid connection challenges, which is beyond our control. But I think it's probably this month now. So that's great. So we're not far away.
Marvellous. I prefer never to have a row with Sam, so let's move on, because I will lose. If you've got any clean transport, PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me, it's goodbye from them. This has been an EV Cafe production, brought to you this week in partnership with the AA. Other sustainability news services are available. Do you know what? This is just funner! The EV Cafe is still truly blessed to be partnered with the AA, Churchill Insurance, Plug Me In, Paythrough, Zaptec, Sperry, Hydrock, Interval, Kesha and McIntyre Hudson. We're the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, wherever it takes you. Stay safe, stay well, stay warm. Till next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I love that little jingle.
It's good.
Sam got his jingle out.